Today's lesson is Director John M. Chu, Crazy Rich in Inspiration. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
I'm Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about director John M. Chu, okay? And, of course, he's the guy who directed Wicked and Crazy Rich Asians, so that's why we're saying he's crazy rich in inspiration. I suppose lots of us who become successful in life have inspiration from various places, and he, of course, credits his inspiration for his love of movies because they had a great work ethic, opening up that restaurant in Los Altos, California, and playing movies at home, and he was inspired by The Wizard of Oz and maybe by some other movies as well. And where we began our lesson last time, he was giving a commencement speech to the class of 2025 for USC, and he felt like it was kind of coming full circle. And then we were talking about his past, and we brought it up to the present, which we'll continue to do now. So let's talk about his famous directorial career. Let's begin by listening to the first part, and we'll come right back.
Chu's Hollywood directorial debut, Step Up 2, The Streets, 2008, was a major commercial success. It also demonstrated a love of music and dance that would surface throughout Chu's career in movies like In the Heights, 2021, and the Wicked series.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 debut， 它的意思是首次登场、首次亮相或是首次发行。例如 The young actor's debut on the Broadway stage won glowing reviews from critics and audiences alike. 这名年轻演员在百老汇舞台上的首次亮相，获得评论家和观众如潮的好评。或者 A new smartphone model had its global debut last week. 一款新的智慧型手机上周在全球首次亮相。再来看到动词 demonstrate， 表示展现、显示或是表明、证明的意思。例如 Noah's kind actions over the years demonstrate his sincere concern for the well-being of others. Noah 多年来的善举展现出他对他人福祉的真诚关心。或是 Children who demonstrate self-control tend to perform well in school. 展现自制力的孩子通常在学校表现良好。
All right, we are back with John M. Chu. So when we left him, he was graduating from the USC, University of Southern California Film School, where he had definitely been a good student. He won some awards for some of his student films and was attracting attention from Hollywood. There were people trying to probably recruit him to make their films and to be directors on their projects. And so that's what he did. Since he'd always wanted to be a filmmaker, he decided to make films. And what did he do? Well, it says Chu's Hollywood directorial debut, Step Up 2, The Streets, 2008, was a major commercial success. What did he do? He came out and made a movie about dancing that made a lot of money. That's not a bad way to start your career as a director, or his directorial debut was a big success. Directorial, we're using the adjective of director, all right? So I love the directorial work, or it's a directorial history of silent films or something, looking at films not from the acting point of view or the music or the special effects point of view, but from the director point of view, all right? So his debut as a director is his directorial debut. Debut, I think most of you probably know, is the first one that you do. Your initial venture, your initial offering, your initial attempt at something, the first time you appear on stage, that's your debut. The first time a sports player, gets onto the field, gets chosen by the coach to go into the game, that's their debut as a professional or something. So it's basically just your first appearance in a career, in some venture, in some kind of activity. And this was called Step Up 2, The Streets. I guess it was, a follow-up to Step Up. I think Channing Tatum, the guy from many dancing movies and stuff, he was in the first one, and I think that was a major commercial success. So, of course, as Hollywood does, they made a sequel, they made a follow-up. Because if it's a major commercial success, maybe the critics aren't saying, oh, this is the most artistic, wonderful film ever made, but it made a lot of money at the box office. So it was popular with the people, so they made another one.
Indeed. So lots of people went to see this movie, so it was a major commercial success. And it also demonstrated a love of music and dance that would surface through Chu's career in movies like In the Heights, 2021, and the Wicked series. Okay, so here we've got the word demonstrate. That just means we are shown this particular facet of his personality. It demonstrated that he had a love of music and dance. Okay, so because he directed this movie, Step Up to the Streets, we could tell that, hey, this guy really likes music and he really likes dance, or dancing when people dance, choreography and things like that, like your wife is a dancer, so she's into dance as well, having studied how to dance at certain schools and stuff like that, and learning different moves for different performances and stuff like that, so they could tell that, hey, he really likes music and he likes dance. And of course, other production companies thought, hey, we saw your movie Step Up to the Streets and we like what you did in that movie regarding music and dance, and maybe we could use you in some other movies like In the Heights and in the Wicked series. I think the Wicked did include a lot of song and dance numbers.
Yes, it absolutely did, because it's a musical that was turned into a film. And of course, there are many other films that John Chu has been part of. But yeah, it's interesting to see that music, dance, certainly lavish production numbers, they do seem to feature in a lot of his different films. So a very interesting style that he's kind of developed for himself. And we're going to be learning more about the evolution of that style in the next paragraph. So let's check that out, then we'll come back to discuss it.
In 2018, Chu achieved a global smash with Crazy Rich Asians, a fun celebration of Asian culture. Actress Michelle Yeoh, who starred in the film, praised Chu in her piece on his selection as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2025. He's a visionary, but he always listens, and he's never afraid to let you try things, she wrote. Yeoh thought so highly of Chu that he was a big reason she joined the cast of Wicked 2024 and its sequel, Wicked for Good 2025, despite not being a singer.
第二部分看到名词 smash 表示大获成功的作品，例如电影、戏剧或是歌曲等。也可以说 The live comedy show was a smash and it started the career of the young actor. 那个喜剧直播节目大获成功，让这个年轻演员开始他的职业生涯。又或者说 That song was such a smash that it stayed number 1 for 10 weeks. 那首歌非常成功，连续10周蝉联榜首。下一个介绍形容词 influential， 它的意思是有影响力的或是有权势的。例如 Peter's influential blog posts reached a wide audience and sparked debates on social issues.Peter 具有影响力的部落格文章触及广大的读者，并引发对社会议题的辩论。再看一个例子 Nathan's theories on aging have become very influential in recent years. 近年来 Nathan 关于老化的理论已经变得非常有影响力。继续看到名词 visionary 指的是有远见的人。举例来说 Leonardo da Vinci was an inventor and a visionary who made sketches for devices that were centuries ahead of their time.达文西是个有远见的发明家，他草拟了超前数个世纪的仪器设计图。或是 The company's success is largely due to its founder's role as a visionary. 该公司的成功很大程度上归功于创办人具有远见的领导。再来介绍 despite 这个介系词，表示尽管或是不管。例如 Despite being tired, Brian stayed up to finish his homework. 尽管很累Brian 还是熬夜完成作业。也可以说 Despite the great acting, the movie's pace was too slow for me. 虽然演出精湛，这部电影的步调对我而言还是太慢。
Okay, now we're up to the year 2018, and in that year, Chu achieved a global smash with Crazy Rich Asians, a fun celebration of Asian culture. Okay, so this was a global smash. Smash here as a noun just means it's a highly successful film. I guess you could say it's kind of like a blockbuster. It was a global smash. It became very popular all over the world, and the title was Crazy Rich Asians, which was about a rich group of people in Singapore, I believe. And I think, the handsome guy who's from the rich family falls in love with kind of an ordinary girl, and the parents don't like her. And he kind of brings them around to like her and stuff like that. So that's what that movie was all about. And yes, indeed, it was a fun celebration of Asian culture, especially for me, Asian culture in Singapore.
Yes, indeed. Filled with beautiful locations, wonderful production scenes, great food. I know a lot of people were introduced to Singaporean-style Chinese food through that film as well. So a very, very popular film, which, of course, was based on a very, very popular novel before that. And also interesting because it had all Asian actors, right? There weren't sort of Caucasian, there weren't white actors, black actors, mostly an Asian cast. And I think that was one of the first times, or the first time, a big Hollywood movie with all that money behind it had so many prominent Asian actors, and it was a huge, huge success, a smash, a major commercial success in the same way that we described Step Up 2, but even more so, I would say also a cultural smash in many ways. Actress Michelle Yeoh, the very famous popular actress from Malaysia, who starred in the film as the matriarch, as one of the mothers in this rich family, I believe, she praised Chu in her piece on his selection as one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people of 2025. Well, how's that for a good thing to put on your resume? You're among Time Magazine's 100 most influential or sort of important people of the year. If you're influential, you're important. And when you say things, when you talk, people listen. What you say matters. You have the ability to kind of change culture and influence things. So if you're influential, you can influence things. You can cause change through your wisdom, through your importance, through the respect that people give you. And so we had Michelle Yeoh, one of the most famous actresses around these days, writing good things about him in Time Magazine. So that's a pretty special honor. She said about him, he's a visionary, but he always listens, and he's never afraid to let you try things. So he sounds like a really good guy, a really good artist for actors to work with. He's a visionary. If you're a visionary, you have a vision. You have a strong idea. You kind of say, I know what this movie should be like, what it should look like. I've kind of thought through whole scenes of it in my mind, planned it already out. I'm not just there sort of following trends and moods and feelings. No, I have a clear idea or a clear vision of what I want it to be like. But, she says, at the same time as having the strong and clear vision, he is open to outside ideas. He's open to other artists and their suggestions about how they could maybe improve the film a little bit. He's not just stuck with his opinion. He is happy to entertain and accept other people's opinions. He always listens, and he's never afraid to let you try things, she wrote. So, of course, actors can act scenes or say lines in all sorts of different ways. So he might think of it as this way. She thinks of it, what if I say it slightly differently? And he'll go, interesting, try that out. And if he tries it and it works, it might end up in the film. So he's very open-minded as well as having that strong vision.
What a great guy. I think some directors aren't so nice. They might be more stubborn. And if you make suggestions to the director, they'll probably get really angry. I'm the director here. You do as I say. But it sounds like John Chu is actually pretty flexible. He's willing to listen to the actors if they have any suggestions as to how the movie should be directed or filmed or whatever. And Yeoh thought so highly of Chu that he was a big reason she joined the cast of Wicked in 2024 and its sequel, Wicked for Good, in 2025, which of course is this year, despite not being a singer. So even though she wasn't a singer in this movie, she still said that his directing prowess, his good ability to direct films, was one of the reasons that she decided to join the cast of this film, even though she didn't get to sing. So we're saying that she thought highly of him, which means she had a lot of respect for him. And so because she respected him so much, because she thought so highly of him, that was a big reason why she joined the cast of Wicked and also the sequel. Now, a sequel, of course, is a movie that follows the first one. And, of course, that is very popular these days for movies to have sequels. Of course, Lord of the Rings, there were sequels there. Star Wars always seems to be coming out with sequels. Toy Story from Pixar, of course, they had lots of sequels as well. And, of course, Wicked had a sequel sequel as well. I think I only saw the first one and not the sequel. Maybe I should go see that because, well, you know, I'm not really a big song and dance person, but I can still appreciate those musicals.
All right, so there we are. We were reading at the beginning of the article yesterday how appearing at USC's graduation commencement ceremony was a full circle moment for John Chu. Well, now it's a full circle moment for us. We're back at the Coliseum with him. As we reach the end of our article, we have this final paragraph, so let's read that, and then we'll come back to chat about it one more time.
Standing on stage at the Coliseum, Chu recounted his unique story, the story of a first-generation American without a Hollywood pedigree who fell in love with storytelling. As he finished, he reminded 2025's graduating class that it was now their turn. You have an extraordinary story, every single one of you, and I deeply, deeply believe in you, he said.
第三部分看到 extraordinary 这个形容词表示非凡的、出色的或是令人惊奇的。可以说 The museum has an extraordinary mixture of art from all around the world. 博物馆里收藏了来自世界各地的非凡艺术品。最后一个例子 Marie Curie made extraordinary contributions to science. 玛丽居里对科学做出了非凡的贡献。
Okay, it's time for us to talk about the third and final part of our lesson for today. Now, remember, we began our lesson with John M. Chu giving a speech to the commencement class of 2025. And so he was talking about his history and his background, his early life, his inspiration and stuff like that. And then, of course, we talked about his film success. So standing on stage at the Coliseum, Chu recounted his unique story, the story of a first-generation American without a Hollywood pedigree who fell in love with storytelling. Okay, so again, if you're on stage and you're performing or if you're giving a speech, you are on stage, and he was on stage at the Coliseum, and while he was there, he recounted his unique story. So here the verb to recount just means to tell a story again. You tell somebody about something. You basically give an account of something. He recounted his story about growing up in California, his parents running a restaurant and making home movies and stuff like that. So he recounted his unique story, and we're saying that he was a first-generation American without a Hollywood pedigree. Now, I've heard the word pedigree when it refers to dogs or something like that, having good breeding or whatever. I guess we're talking about a Hollywood pedigree, meaning he had connections in Hollywood, but he didn't have those connections because he was a first-generation immigrant or a son of immigrants. And yeah, he didn't have like relatives in Hollywood. He didn't really have any uncle who was already a director.
Exactly. His dad wasn't Bruce Lee. His uncle wasn't Jackie Chan or anything like that. So he just came to Hollywood as a normal, average guy without those connections to open those doors. It was the talent that he showed as a young director, both in school and in his first projects. Those were the things that opened the doors and created all of this success for him. As he finished, so this is his actual speech that we're going to be reading a little bit of, this commencement speech that he gave to the students at USC. So as he finished, he reminded 2025's graduating class that it was now their turn. So this is the kind of inspirational message that the speakers will often deliver at a commencement speech to tell young people to go out there and do good in the world and chase your dreams and be successful, be good people at the same time, that it's now their turn to take their education and whatnot and go out and do good things in the world. He says, you have an extraordinary story. You've done amazing things. To go to school and to graduate from university is quite an accomplishment. Many of these students probably had hardships along the way, difficulties, challenges. So it's an extraordinary story. It's a very special story, a very unusual. Something's extraordinary. It's special. It's unusual. It's maybe worthy of respect as well, right? If you've accomplished many things, even though you've faced difficulty and hardship and failure in the past, it's quite an interesting and special story. Every single one of you, he says, and I deeply, deeply believe in you. So I believe in all of you and believe that you will all all go out and whatever field you will be in, medical students and business students and students who studied history and geography and who knows what, but each one of them is very special, and each one of them should go out there and do the best that they can. And to give them faith in themselves, he says that he has faith in them to go out and make the world a better place.
Yeah, he deeply believes in these people, so they're going to go on and do good things in the world, and maybe even some of them are going to become famous directors like he is. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our beloved Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分提到，朱浩伟站在体育场的舞台上，讲述着他独特的故事。这是一个没有好莱坞背景的第一代美国人深深爱上说故事的故事。好，文中他用到名词 pedigree， 它有家谱、系谱的意思。那在课文里面是指出身背景、家世、门第。Without a Hollywood pedigree 就是表达没有好莱坞背景，并非演艺世家。这边来补充一下 pedigree 它的字根，看到 PED 或是拼作 PEDI、POD 或是 PUS 这一类字根，它表示 foot， 也就是足部。那很多生物的名字都带有这个字根，像 centipede。CENTI 这个部分表示 100 百，那后面的部分表示足部嘛，100只脚，同学们猜得到是什么吗？那就是蜈蚣，它又称为百足虫，它们就好像有100只脚一样。那么在 pedigree 这个字当中，它的字根 PEDI 表示足部， GREE 是指鹤这种鸟类，那合在一起 pedigree 就是指家谱、世系、系谱。那同学们会想说，这跟鹤的脚有什么关系呢？像我们在画这种家庭树来呈现家庭关系时，仔细想想看，鹤或是其他鸟类的脚印是不是也很像树状的结构呢？所以也许可以用这样的画面来联想到 pedigree， 它有家谱、系谱的意思。顺便补充几个有这一类字根的单字，第一个是 tripod， 它的字首 TRI 表示3， POD 表示足，那3只脚是指什么呢？ tripod 就是三脚架。第二个补充 impede， 它的字首 IM 是来自 IN， 那这个字首它表示往内。PEDE 表示足部，如果有东西摆在我们两脚之间，会妨碍我们前进，用这样的方式也许可以去联想 impede 它有妨碍、阻碍的意思。那如果是用 unimpeded， 则可以形容是畅通无阻的。第三个补充 expedition， 它的字首 EX 表示向外， PEDI 表示足部， TION 是名词字尾。往外走、向外走，应该可以联想到 expedition， 它有远征或探险的意思。课文的最后，他有引用朱浩伟对毕业班学生说的话。那有一句他有说 I deeply, deeply believe in you， 我深深的相信你们。Believe in somebody 就是表达对什么有信心，相信、信任某人。我们这边也顺便补充 believe in 的其他用法。第一个可以用 believe in something 去表达相信点点点的能力、效用，认为什么是对的、正确的或应该的。例如 Mia believes in working hard to reach her goals。 Mia 相信努力才能达成目标。第二个补充 believe in something 可以表达相信点点点真的存在，信奉、确信某事物。例如 Do you believe in ghosts？ 这是说你相信鬼的存在吗？好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Debut. The young actress made her debut in a popular TV drama.Demonstrate. Charlotte is eager to demonstrate her ability to lead a team. Smash. The author's first novel was a smash that sold millions of copies. Influential. Social media has become an influential tool in modern politics. Visionary. Steve Jobs was regarded as a true visionary in the world of technology. Despite. Despite feeling very nervous about it,Dominic managed to get a good grade on the test. Extraordinary. Considering the pressure they were under, the rescue workers did an extraordinary job.
Discussion Starter starts now!
It's time now for our discussion starter, and the question is, what did you find most inspiring about John M. Chu's story and why?
I found it particularly inspiring that his first movie, Step Up 2, was a big hit because many first-time directors, they don't get a chance to direct a film as their first big project, and if they do, sometimes they're still learning their trade and they have a few misses, a few failures, a few things that don't quite deliver before they really hit their stride. But he seemed to have a very strong vision and very great talent even from the very beginning.
Well, I was inspired to learn that his parents ran a Chinese restaurant in Los Altos, California. I got to admit I was more interested in the food aspect than his career because every time I go back to the United States, I want to go have Chinese food at an American Chinese restaurant. The food is made differently. I think people here in Taiwan would go, ugh, what is that? That's not Chinese food. But I think to a lot of us from North America or other countries, we like the way they cook it. It's just, oh, so tasty.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.